Okay,
It's
Allison.
5 o'clock.
I think we're going to go live.
All right.
Oh, let me fix that.
Reload. Let's see. I haven't looked at my cameras or anything yet. How am I doing? It looks like I need to tilt down quite a bit. Hello, everybody. Looks like I'm slow again. Not as bad as usual, though.
No, your tint's off a little bit, or maybe mine's off. Looks a little yellow.
You know what? I'm going to turn off Wi-Fi right now before we...
Hopefully that doesn't affect the stream, because I would have to restart everything.
It shouldn't affect anybody but me, right?
All right.
We'll see. Am I still here?
You're so far so good.
Am I any faster?
I don't see any lag, so it's something...
Terrible lag? Okay. This looks like it from my side then.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Where's... There okay. Come on. There it is.
There's Wingman and Hepabaloo.
Hepabaloo is Helma.
Oh, Helma. Oh, fantastic.
Hey, Helma. Is she listening? Yes, she can hear me now. I think I'm going to have to hold our conversation till next week, after all, because I wrote an awful lot more about the show than I expected to. So there's a chance I'll put it in, but I don't think so. I think it's going to end up next week. Well, and since next week I've got a short week, I'm short by 2 days. That will help me next week when I need it again. So yeah, Helma and I did a mini talk. That was pretty fun. I held off one of my blog posts and that I think I'm going to hold off. Let me see how the recording sounds. Check my audio levels here. Oh, Kevin, I can't remember who said it. One of the NosillaCast ways in the audience said, in the middle of my talk, he almost yelled out, "Save and chapter markers" for Kevin.
That's right. I remember that.
Ooh, now I'm hearing you twice.
You're hearing me twice?
Yes.
Is that Discord?
You have an echo. Let's see.
I'm not sure yeah, I am. Apparently my audio is.
Let me see whether that's me or you. Okay, talk again.
This is Steve Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast.
Yes, you definitely have an echo.
Really?
Nico Kamen showed up. Hey, Joe. Anybody else hearing Steve in an echo?
Yeah.
Oh, you did bring me water. I was about to say, but I didn't get water. Yeah, can you guys hear an echo on Steve? Talk again.
Oh, Rose.
Rose.
Okay, I'm talking now. Do you hear me double or an echo, chat room, or do you just hear one of me? Rick says no.
No echo. How am I hearing an echo?
Could it be
you know what?
Discord?
I know, in Discord, that's where I'm hearing you. So
Yeah.
let me change my preferences there. I'm just so excited I can talk in Discord this time. Output device, we are going to make that be... I like making that be my microphone as a standard. Okay, talk to me.
This is Steve Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com.
And I still have an echo.
Really?
And you know what's unfortunate? You can't turn off your headphones and leave your mic active in Discord.
Ah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's not like you're in my own voice in an echo. I have my output device set to my microphone, so there's no way I can be hearing you.
Okay.
And yet I do.
I'm not sure where that's coming from.
I think it's me. It's not you, it's me. I'm on the wrong camera.
No. Oh, there we go. That's better. That color is much better.
Echo. Let me mess with it real quick. Toggle it a couple times. There we go.
Okay.
All right. It is time for early roll call. So the special students are Kevin and Helma and Joe and Nuclear John, Rose, and Rick Cartwright. Hey, do we have a way of pinging to make sure NASA Nut knows?
That's a good point. I don't think he is on Twitter.
Hmm.
How would I ping him? Oh, I think he's on. Is he on Facebook? Let me check that. I don't think he's
know.
on Facebook.
All
What
right.
else?
Let's see.
I'll look around.
Let's have a little fun here. If you guys haven't seen this picture yet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I wrote to Toby's dad to make sure Toby knew we were going to be on.
That's a great shot. And it's amazing they all brought these name cards and held them up like that.
That was handy. It was very handy for remembering names. Okay, I'm going to have to... Oh, let me do a test recording here.
Okay.
Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Let me go back and hit play. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast. And nobody can hear that.
I did.
I don't think the chat room heard that playback.
Did you, chat room?
My mic did not light up in that Hindenburg preferences.
Yes, they heard it.
Really?
Maybe just you didn't hear it.
No, I heard it.
Well, then we all heard it. We're good. Hopefully the recording heard it.
Well, the recording... Yes. Okay, let me turn my fan down a little bit. I'm sure that's going to cause problems.
Did you remember to turn off the air conditioner? And where's your lighting, for goodness sakes?
Oh, it's the wrong day. Hey, Siri. It's showtime. Here we go. Here we go. Ready for it?
And 2 minutes later, she will respond. There we go.
Yay! And the phone turned off and the heater turned off. Thank goodness that heater turned off because it's hotter than heck here. All right. Let me see. Let me find my GarageBand jingles. Get those things ready. I have to use my big iPad because my little iPad has no charge, and it turns out if you have no charge, can't do anything here.
Joe appreciated that.
Oh yeah,
lighting effect.
All right.
Wasn't he the one that introduced us to that? The light strips?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's the one who told us to get the LifeX strip.
LifeX, yeah.
All right, here we go. Hey Siri, it's sausage time. Oh no, she just. Shh. Thank you. She didn't know what I meant. I'm gonna save.
Ooh, an early save. Save early, save often.
All right, I'm gonna mute Steve because I'm going to start. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Tuesday, July 24th, 2018, and this is show number 689. Well, we're back from Stock Expo, and boy, am I charged up. We have a lot of fun to talk about today. In fact, it's so much fun, I've actually had to push a couple things off till next week. If there's time, I might squeeze in a little bit more, but I'm guessing this is going to be a pretty long show without any extra help. We're going to start with a great alternative to expensive smart lights by Joe Duganzik of Smarter Home Life. And then I want to talk about the people I met and how cool everyone was at MacStock. After that, I'll tell you what I actually learned at MacStock Expo. I'm telling you, this is going to be a really good time. With all the MacStock Expo excitement, though, combined with the destruction of my home continuing to entertain us, I didn't make time to do a chit-chat across the pond. We will be back on the horse next week. I do want to make sure you realize that you will hear me complaining about my home destruction for only probably the next 3 months, I think, something like that. So just wanted to give you a fair warning. Well, last week I told you about Bella's 3D Face app, the free app for iPhone X that lets you make a frighteningly realistic 3D scan of your face. In the review, I told you that I had originally been able to export a short video from Bella's 3D to my camera roll, but that in later tests, it didn't work. Well, both Alex and Eric from Bella's 3D followed up with me, and we went back and forth a few times, and they finally figured out why it didn't work. The way they create that exported video is they record the screen of Bella's 3D. But I was trying to use iOS's built-in screen recording to show you how it was doing it. So basically, I was telling two competing processes to both record the screen. As soon as I stopped trying to record them recording the screen, nothing was wrong with the app at all. So I want to let you know Bella's 3D works perfectly.
Can I interrupt?
Marker? Yes.
I don't see this show draft posted.
Oh, well, that would help you be able to follow along, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm just kind of lost wandering the streets right now.
In
Not
an
knowing
echo,
what you're doing
echo,
next.
echo.
I really want to know what you're doing next so I can be fully prepared.
Yeah, I have an idea. Talk now. Yeah. So I had you muted and I could still hear you.
Muted in what?
I muted you in Mimo and I could still hear you.
So you sure you turned me off in Discord?
Yep.
Because
I'm not going to play with it anymore, though.
Okay.
Because I'm just afraid if I mess with it, I may lose me.
Yeah.
And this time I've only got an echo, and it's not that bad. Like I said, having you on echo is a pain, is a little annoying. Having me on echo is catastrophic.
Yeah. So that's fine. No objection.
Approve. I didn't give you a vote.
I'm taking one.
All right, we are going to listen to Joe DeGanzik now.
Joe, you're up.
Okay, here we go. Gross. I was just glad Chuck and Steve survived MacStock. You see what Chuck did to me?
It was priceless. Are you gonna? Well, if they watch your presentation, they'll see it.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the picture into the
Okay.
chat here while we're playing.
Good.
Wrong with the app at all. So I want to let you know Bella's 3D works perfectly. I want to let you know Bella's 3D works perfectly.
If you've been
Long, too long, too short, too long, too short, just right. Works perfectly.
If you've been avoiding jumping into the smart lighting world because the products always seem to cost an entire paycheck, I may have the solution for you. Hi, I'm Joe DeGanzik from SmarterHomeLife.com. You know, one of the top questions I get from viewers is, why is smart lighting so darn expensive? Well, like other smart home devices, the cost of the company providing free updates for the life of their products is built into the price. But otherwise, companies doing serious innovation in the smart home tend to have pricier products, and that includes smart lighting from brands like Philips Hue and LifeX. Enter Sylvania, a lighting company that's been around for a heck of a long time, and over the past several years has built up their own line of smart lighting products. Originally branded Lightify and now called Smart Plus. And you may see the products advertised under the Osram company name as well, but they're all basically under the same umbrella. Instead of creating whiz-bang lighting products with special effects and blinding brightness levels, they're just making smart lighting products that perform as well as those other guys, but won't short-circuit your budget. With full color-changing smart bulbs starting at around $28 and light strips starting around $45, they can be substantially lower in cost than the competition. Also, for certain lighting categories, Sylvania tends to have a wider selection of products than the competition, including really unique products like their outdoor garden spots. Color-changing mini spotlights that can light up the outside of your home, backyard, and/or garden. They're really beautiful and probably my favorite Sylvania smart lighting product. To satisfy different customers, Sylvania has two different smart lighting ranges, one dedicated for HomeKit and one that uses Zigbee, like other smart lighting brands. The HomeKit variety is Bluetooth-based and doesn't require a hub. In fact, Sylvania shipped the first 60-watt equivalent color-changing HomeKit smart bulb that doesn't need a hub in September 2017. Their Zigbee line has a few more products, like outdoor floodlights, under cabinet lights, and even wireless buttons, smart plugs, and sensors. The Zigbee products do require a hub for operation, which Sylvania is happy to sell you their neat and compact model for about $30, or you can pair the lights to something like an Amazon Echo Plus, SmartThings, or Wink Hub, or nearly any smart home controller that supports Zigbee. Now, the Sylvania app, to be diplomatic, is just not a fantastic experience. It seems that Sylvania is totally okay with you purchasing their smart lights and controlling them from someone else's system. I don't think they want to be known for their app. It's just not very intuitive and somewhat hard to use even for an experienced smart home guy like myself. If you're using HomeKit, you'll be able to use Apple's Home app or any HomeKit app of your choice to control the lights. And I think it goes without saying that you'll be able to use Siri to voice control Sylvania's HomeKit lights and Amazon's Lady A or the Google Assistant to control their Zigbee lights when linked up to your favorite smart speaker. Sylvania sent me a few of their Zigbee products to review, including a color-changing smart bulb, light strip, and those lovely garden spots. So for full disclosure, I will officially say thanks to Sylvania, just in case the FTC is listening. I found Sylvania's lights overall to be quality, smart lighting products with more than adequate brightness and decently saturated colors. You can check out my full review with demos, which I'm sure Allison will link to, or just go to youtube.com/smarterhomelife. For the lower price and unique selection of products, Sylvania is definitely a good smart lighting choice for those on a budget. I'm Joe DeGanzik from smarterhomelife.com. Now back to Allison at the NBC studios in beautiful downtown Burbank.
All right, let me kick in right there.
That's good. Nice.
Right.
Well done, Joe. Well done.
All right, let me see.
Sounded like you had a professional record that.
I know. He should do this for a job.
He should.
Okay. I'm muting you.
Now back to Allison at the NBC studios in beautiful downtown Burbank.
Well, thanks, Joe. Good luck in the frying pan that is currently the state of Arizona. I got to say, I'm excited to see these less expensive smart bulbs coming out, especially from a household name like Sylvania, and especially that they're actually hubless when they're used with HomeKit. I was kind of giving them a hard time to Joe because I looked for an image of them, and the photos they've taken make it look like these things were invented in 1957. The pictures just look just really old school. So I told Joe maybe he should go maybe check out getting a job with them to take better pictures of their stuff. They also don't have a Facebook group, which was pretty funny, or Facebook page. I think they had a Twitter handle. But they didn't have anything on LinkedIn either, which is pretty ridiculous. So he said when he called them that they were just about to spin up their MySpace. But who cares? They're making inexpensive smart bulbs and they work with HomeKit. So it's all good. Thanks again for the review, Joe. All right. Next up.
Did you see TJ has joined us?
Oh, he has. Hi, TJ. Oh, I got to show you guys. Check it out.
Yeah, this is good.
There's a great picture of Steve and Toby and me together at Max Talk.
And yes, he was as excited as he appears. TJ just loved that.
More excited, us or him?
Yeah. Well, I think we were excited to see him. He was excited to see the hardware.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let me do a chapter marker.
No face reveals. Oh, you didn't want that? Do you want us to take that down? All right. We can do that.
Okay. All right, let's see.
All right. We're good.
Okie dokie. All right. Let me bring up the next one. Okay. Here we go. Actually, wait a second. I gotta check for something here. Okay, there we go. Good. Mm. Muting Steve. I hear him drinking. Actually, I can still hear you with you muted, but it's quieter. So that's good. What the heck was that? I've got notifications off. How did I just get a
That was a
notification?
telegram from me.
Okay. Can you, well, I guess you, yeah, can you go and do not disturb maybe? Okay, that's what you're doing?
No, I want you to read my telegram.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm asking you, you're doing that or am I?
No, I haven't.
Okay. We can talk about that.
All right.
Make a note, if you
Okay.
would. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. One of the biggest takeaways from Stock Expo is how relaxing and comfortable it is to be surrounded by people with the same interests as you. If you're anything like us, you're often in the company of lovely people, but it can be hard to find things to talk about with normal people. When we arrived in Chicago, NosillaCast and now good friend Corky Heath picked us up from the airport along with John F. Braun of the Mac Geek Gab. Corky is a great guy and he's awfully generous with his time. He's also very funny and very sarcastic. As soon as we met him last year for the first time, we knew it would be an easy and comfortable drive because we naturally started talking about the Mac and iOS and apps and gadgets, and it was just really comfortable. Stock Expo this year had a great format. We had sessions from 9 to 5, and then at 6:30 there was a heavy appetizer party at a restaurant/bar right next to the hotel where most of us were staying. The amazing Barry Folk and his even more awesome wife, Bobby Ann, put all of this together. So the fun thing about the events after the show, and actually during the breaks and at lunchtime, was you could just walk up to any table of people and say, "Hi, I'm Allison," and you'd immediately be amongst friends. Well, okay, everybody wouldn't say Allison, but you know what I mean. Anyway, you'd notice somebody's iPhone case, or they'd start using an app you hadn't seen before. Maybe they had a cool Apple Watch band or a tech problem they wanted help with. Who amongst us wouldn't love that and wouldn't love to sit down at a table with them? We enjoyed spending time with NosillaCast's Ian Princeton and his young son, Daniel. Daniel is a seasoned veteran of Stock Expos. He went last year as well. Towards the end of the party, that last party evening, he told me that he figured out the percentages on Stock Expo. I was kind of confused what percentages he meant, but he went on to explain, it's 50% the people, 1/8 learning, and the rest is comedy. I just absolutely love that. And I can prove that Daniel is right. Whenever someone starts to take a picture of me, I like to say, "Make me look skinny." Usually gets a laugh from the person taking the photo. But when I said it to Barry's wife, Bobby Ann, her response was, "It's not a magic camera." All-time comedy all the time while we were there. Here's another people story. On the first day, a gentleman came up to me and introduced himself as Father John Long. I couldn't believe it. John and I have been corresponding for over a decade about the podcast, and he's been listening to the NosillaCast since day one. I ran up and hugged a man I have never met before because I already knew he was a dear friend. I get tingles just remembering how floored I was to finally get to meet him in real life. Another thrill was when Steve and I got to meet one of the youngest NosillaCastaways, an avid member of the live chat room on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time at podfeed.com/live. It was none other than Toby, also known as TJPK. He was delightful and seemed to have a fantastic time. One of the Tucson Mac user groups drives all the way from Arizona every year, and they lug along old computer gear and they set up what they call the MacStop Swap. The idea is you can bring your old stuff too, and everybody gets to look for hidden gems. This was essentially like a candy store for Toby. He spent most of his time looking at these treasures with his dad, Michael, who is a historian and a professor of digital history. Among other things, they took home an Xserve and a Mac Classic. I'm not sure who was more excited, Toby or his dad. Well, Daniel and his dad, Ian, took home 2 cheese grater Mac Pros, and they're going to make a glass coffee table with the Macs as the stands. Isn't that the coolest idea ever? I made Daniel promise to send us some pictures when they get it done. Now, there is danger in starting to name people because I won't have a story about everybody I talk to, and I talk to everybody. One thing that made me happy was to see so many NosillaCastaways from the live show. Beyond the people I already mentioned, there was Brett Kennedy, Norbert Frassa, Rick Carter, Frank Petrie. They were all there too. Another exciting first-time meetup was when Steve and I got to meet John Ormsby in real life. He's known in the live chat room as NASA Nut. He was as delightful as we had hoped. He brought a kid's book written by an astronaut for our grandson Forbes, which basically cemented his place in my heart. He and Steve geeked out about the Space Launch System, which is what John is currently working on at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. Another funny incident during lunch, Linda Goucher, whom you've heard before on the show, and she's a regular on Bart's Let's Talk Apple, she came over to tell me something. She showed me her phone on the available Wi-Fi networks page. She pointed out that my phone's hotspot, called Podfeet, was unencrypted, and she thought I'd want to know. Well, I explained, my hotspot wasn't called Podfeet. It's called something else. But clearly, someone was messing with me. Hang on. That was really lame. I have a section I need to delete on that. Yeah. Okay. I gotta remember to repost this at the end of the day, Steve. Well, I explained. That my hotspot wasn't called Podfeet, but clearly someone was messing with me. I scanned around the room. There's about 150 people there, and I suddenly realized I knew exactly who would do this. I knew it had to be Toby. He's wicked smart, playful, and loves to experiment, and he pushes the boundaries of everything. Sure enough, I finally found Toby on the ground between two tables with the Linksys router he'd found on the MacStock swap table, and he had named the network Podfeet. I loved that I knew it had to be him. On the first night of the first party, Dennis Jerkinson made a point of coming up to tell me how much he loves programming by stealth. He's a programmer, but he had specialized in Java, and he's been learning JavaScript from Bart, and he said it's been a fantastic experience. I think the reason I liked Dennis so much was that he confessed that he's often screaming into his device when I'm not getting something Bart is trying to explain. He says that I bring an interesting perspective. Anyway, that proved that he's listening and following along. I have to say, I can't thank Mike Potter and Barry Falk enough for putting together this extraordinary event. We played, Steve and I even did karaoke, believe it or not. We learned, and we had an absolute blast. I've already written to our daughter, Lindsay, telling her in 2019 she'll have to postpone our grandson's birthday party yet again because Stock Expo is the same weekend as his birthday. Okie dokie. Yep, the 27th.
27th of July, 2019. So we'll be getting back from that an eclipse just in time.
Oh, really?
Well, no, actually, we'll have a couple weeks between. But
not
much,
a
lot of gap.
And aren't we going to try to go to...
Oh, Brett's here. I didn't see Brett pop in. Hello, Brett.
Brett must have snuck in.
Is Brett buying?
Oh, I think so.
He just rolled in. Oh, literally, probably. Were you on the train, Brett?
Maybe still is.
Oh, he's still... That's right. He's still out there. He's going to spend another week. TJ wants to know what he missed. His headphones died. Not much.
Oh. All right. I'm going to send that to the blog there. I wish I could figure out why I can hear you twice. You know, I guess I could mute you over in Mimo Live, couldn't I?
Yeah.
I mean, I could change my headphones so I don't hear you. I'm not listening.
So when you mute me in Mimo Live or I mute myself, so you don't hear either of me? Both of those go away?
No, I hear you once real quietly, and that's that I believe that's coming from Discord.
Okay. But
so I just muted you on Mimo Live, but I won't be able to mute you on Discord. So it's quiet, so it's not going to bother me probably. But if you just talk, it would.
But can you hear me now?
Talk. Yeah, it's quiet, but
okay.
I can hear you.
So I need to scream.
Yes, I would really if you did that. All right. So I am not going to do a chapter marker yet. You could kick him off the server, Toby.
Well, so could I. I could kick her off.
Yeah, that would slow down the show.
When you got two moderators.
That's good. Let me do my Patreon thing. If I don't like not being able to mute you.
I will mute myself.
Okay. Actually, talk right now, Steve. Yeah, I still hear you. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, I got to keep going. Here we go. It warms my little heart that so many of you take your hard-earned dollars and apply a few of them to help make the podcast a little bit less expensive for me to produce. It shows that you find value in the content and want to show that support. Just this week, Alex Friedman showed his support by becoming a brand new Patreon member. He went to podfeet.com/Patreon and pledged a weekly dollar amount he knew was affordable for him and his family. He did that knowing that any time he could turn it off if it didn't continue to work for him. I hope you'll consider being as generous as Alex and showing your support for all of the Podfeet podcasts. All right. Now for the long playing one. What I learned. Stuff I learned.
Did you learn something at MacStock Podfeet?
A little bit. I didn't plug that post yet.
Okay.
I gotta make sure I plug the post. Spam stuff I learned.
Did you do a save for Kevin?
I did, but I didn't do a chapter marker yet. I almost forgot. Not that one. This one. That one. Preview. Here we go.
Well, 80% Fun Mac Festival, 20% Learning, Joe.
Joe?
Joe just made a comment about, wait, you guys learned something?
You should post the video of you singing karaoke, Steve.
Fortunately, that's on Facebook, so it's not publicly available. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not available to people who are not on Facebook and not friended by me. That's your hotel room. Is that a moving hotel room, Brett? Looks like your train hotel room. That's pretty cool. Wait, it looks like you're on top of something. I don't understand that photo. Oh, you're in an actual
he's
hotel.
Standing on top
Okay.
of the train.
He's in. Yeah, that's what I thought for a moment.
All right. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. Which one? Oh, nope. Nope. Yep. There we go. All right. Don't talk to Kevin. Don't talk to Joe about monsoons. He's in Tucson or in Phoenix, where they actually have monsoons. What was the temperature today there, Joe? All right, I am going live now. As much as I learned from talking to people at the parties at Stock Expo, there was actually a conference going on during the day. The schedule was pretty interesting. Mike Potter, the amazing creator of Stock Expo, decided to reduce the total number of speakers and instead have each speaker do a 20-minute pitch on the big stage and then do a 45-minute deeper dive session later in the day. This was a cool way to learn if you were intrigued enough to go discover more. The downside was that the deeper dives were across from each other. There were 2 at a time, which means you couldn't see every deeper dive. Most of the time that worked out okay. As you know, Steve is big into video using Final Cut Pro 10, and so the deeper dive by Wally Czerwinski on multicam shooting and editing was perfect for him. At the same time, I keep wanting to like Markdown, so I went to Adam Christensen's deeper dive about Markdown. But one time, it was an awful choice. I had to choose between hearing the outstanding David Ginsburg, such a great guy, such a great speaker, do a deeper dive into the best Apple Watch apps. But at the same time, Kelly Guimont was digging deep into Text Expander. I knew that Mike Potter was filming the main stage for the Digital Pass that I'll talk about a little bit at the end. And that's where David's pitch was. And he had said the ones in the breakout room where Kelly was located wouldn't be recorded. So I chose Kelly, and I definitely plan on going back to see David's when those videos are available. But I felt terrible having to choose. I mean, I love them both, and both subjects were so cool. Oh, well. I should mention that Mike did the video recording because he's going to be selling that digital ticket to Stock Expo, and I'll give you details at the very end. The even better news is that when I got to the breakout room to hear Kelly, I discovered that Mike was actually recording in there too. Now, he doesn't promise the breakout sessions will be in the digital pass, but maybe he will. Well, I'm going to try to go through some of the high points of what I learned during these sessions. If you find the subject intriguing, maybe it will entice you into getting a digital ticket when they become available. Mike Schmidt is probably one of the most polished presenters I've ever seen. I steal constantly what I learned from just about how he creates his slide decks. It was from him I learned the way around doing a live demo during a talk, and that was to create videos of you doing the demo and then chop them up into segments and put each segment on a new slide. It's exceptionally effective because it has the advantages of teaching in what looks like a live demo, including allowing you to talk through what's happening on screen, but it has none of the risks of a true live demo. When you do it this way, typos don't happen, you don't accidentally reveal a file on your computer that you truly didn't want to show on screen, and it forces you to think through exactly what you're going to demo ahead of time. It does take a lot of time to do it this way, but the professionalism of his presentations confirm how effective this technique is. I should mention that Mike is also a contributor to Screencasts Online, so he's got a ton of experience creating video screencasts. Now, that doesn't mean it's easier for him to do it this way, just that his practice at screencasting has paid off in his presentations. He also has an artistic and visual talent in how he lays out his charts, and I can only hope to emulate that, but it's a talent I definitely lack. The theme of Stock Expo this year was productivity, and every speaker had a different angle on it. Mike explained that productivity to him is the time spent versus the work achieved in that same length of time. He said that you can decrease the time spent, and that will make you more efficient. You can also increase the work achieved in the same amount of time, which makes you more effective. I thought that was kind of an interesting difference. If you decrease the time spent and increase the work achieved, you increase your net productivity. Mike talked about how, in order to affect something, you have to be able to measure it. Bart and I talk about that all the time relative to trying to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. In order to increase efficiency, he said, you need to be able to measure how much time you're spending on different tasks. Mike recommended an app called Timing for the Mac. He showed us beautiful graphs generated by Timing that allow him to see visually how he's spending his time. Timing is also available in Setapp and at timingapp.com. Mike also talked about the way he uses the app Drafts, which is through the Apple Watch app. I've heard other people talk about this method, and it does intrigue me. He demonstrated, not live of course, but recorded, how he can dictate into the Apple Watch Drafts app, and those notes are automatically synced over to his iOS devices. Now, looking into it, I'm bummed that Drafts isn't available for the Mac, because I think I could really get into using it if it was. I'm not sure this technique is for me, though, because I write such long-form text. I do use my Apple Watch to send myself reminders of things I want to write about, though. If it doesn't ding, buzz, or in some way rattle my cage when I'm sitting down to write, I don't think I'd be able to remember to go get it from Drafts. Maybe it's a habit if you use it all the time. I should point out that while the idea of dictating into your watch sounds really foolish, as a matter of fact, it's surprisingly accurate. I found it much more accurate than dictating it in my phone or even my Mac. I'm going to save and take a break.
Joe was asking whether Drafts is the one that Leo's been talking about, and I think it is, right?
Yeah, Leo likes it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe Mike Elgin
loves
as well,
Drafts.
but I know Leo's been talking about it.
So what do you use it for, Helma? I can't see what it does for us.
So it's only iOS?
Oh, look at that. Rose says she got up at 4:30 a.m. so she could take an early lunch break to be here. Legend I am. Oh, Joe has it on his to-do list to take a look at it. Yeah, it's only on iOS and watchOS.
So that
I'm not
makes it a
sure
little
how
less
that helps
useful.
me.
If they could go
I mean, is it just a
cross-platform.
reminder of something you want to say, or are you actually writing by using Drafts? How is it any different than doing reminders or something?
They're saying you're cutting out on Discord. TJ is saying that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anyone else
so
hear
Helma
that?
says she uses it for quick notes while on the road. I start text there. But you can use it to send it to anything. I can't turn up my mic sensitivity, Joe, Toby, because it'll change on the recording. Oh, my mic sensitivity, he's saying. I have been messing with that. Let's see if I can get it to change that. I see what you're saying. Let's take a look. Voice and video.
Oh,
It's cranked all the way to the, or it's turned on.
On Discord?
Which cranks it all the way to the top. Maybe I shouldn't have it on automatic. It's at 100%. Let's see. Helma says, the nice thing about drafts is that you write your note first and then decide what to do it and automate that. Huh. Oh, so drafts.
Is that the
I don't know what that is.
Xserve?
Color in the things app. Put every single thing I'm supposed to do into one list. Huh. What is that, TJ? Huh.
What is that?
Not my Xserve. All right. I'm going to put that. Okay. I'm going to keep going. So mute yourself, Steve. Okay, I'll do it. I've become a huge fan of Brett Terpstra over the last few years. I know, I'm late to the party. Everybody else knew he was really cool, but I'm glad I finally learned how amazing he is. I'll try to explain how amazing he is, but he's very difficult to describe. He's exceptionally intelligent and applies his talents towards creating things for everyone that will increase their efficiency and effectiveness. See how I used what I learned from Mike already? He writes scripts, he comes up with text expander snippets that would blow your mind, and he teaches. The things he gives away and the things he sells are over at brettterpstra.com. It's fun to spell because it's got 3 T's in the middle. Anyway, he's a big believer in Markdown and has created an interesting app for the Mac called Marked. I'd played with Marked via Setup a long time ago, but its purpose evaded me. I thought it was a Markdown editor, but that's not at all what he does. In Adam Christensen's deeper dive on Markdown, he used Marked, and I finally got my head wrapped around it. You start by writing in Markdown in any text editor you like. You could even use TextEdit. Then you open that same document in Marked, and it shows you visually what the rendered Markdown will look like. It's an effective way to get real-time feedback on whether the annotations you've applied are rendering what you expect. I'm going to do a more extensive review of Marked in the near future after I've used it for a while. But none of that is what Brett talked about on stage. He explained how he uses Finder tags. I know, that sounds super dorky and boring, right? But it wasn't, because he's so passionate and it's really cool stuff. He uses Finder tags as a way to search for his documents and allow them to be automatically filed away from his desktop using Hazel rules and other scripts that he's written. I've been kind of hesitant to use Finder tags because they appear to be one of those things Apple threw out there and then never gave any more love. When you see something not in active development by Apple, or by anyone else for that matter, it's good to be cautious about investing your time in it. Brett's methods are pretty cool. Hang on. Got to point out that Brett explained that they have been giving love to it. Be cautious about investing your time in it. Okay. Brett explained that Apple has been giving it some love, and I didn't follow exactly what he said they were doing with it, but they've done things that make it, I think the fact that it syncs over to iOS is part of it. But anyway, he said that they have been investing time, and that kind of makes it more of a better idea to go invest your time, like I said. Well, Brett's methods are pretty cool, and I'm inspired, but I'm not sure it's for me. I name my documents with long descriptive names, and I have a robust filing structure because I'm an engineer. As a result, I don't find that I have difficulty with findability. I think this would be a good talk to rewatch on the MacStock Digital Ticket and to watch his deeper dive to truly understand it and see if it would help you. At one point in Brett's deeper dive, someone asked if there was a way to easily tag everything in a folder and all of its subfolders. If you want to tag all of the files in a folder, you have to expand every single folder so you can see all the way down. And then you hit Command A and then apply the tags. But how do you quickly open all of the files in a folder? He clicked on a folder and then put it in list view. He used Option 2 to get to list view. And then he hit Command A to select all with the folders folded up. Then he hit Command right arrow. This triggered every single folder to unfold. Since the items in the folders weren't selected, he hit Command A again and then applied the tags. Finally, he hit Option left arrow and they all folded back up. Okay, so I just alternated Option and Command in every row in that review, and that doesn't make any sense. It is either Option or Command, not both.
So Kevin was asking about Apple Tel. Is it Apple
What are you talking
Tall
about?
or Apatol? I don't know why Kevin's asking this. Didn't she say Apatol?
I don't know.
Why are you asking, Kevin? That's the company that makes what?
Apple Tel?
Apatol. Isn't that the company you cited in your post?
I need more context. I don't know. Let's see if I do that. Is it Command A? Oh, cripes. Now neither one is working. Oh, because you have to be in list view. So I think it's Command 2, not... Okay, so that should be Command. I'm glad I didn't spam this yet. Clicked on a folder. Okay. So it should be Command 2. Command 2, then Command A. Command A, then he does Command right arrow. And then Command A again. Okay, and then Command left arrow. Okay, there we go. Command. I don't think there's any options at all in there. Okay. Now, when she meant something else. Well, but what was I saying?
Not enough.
He clicked on a folder. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all of this because all of that's wrong. Luckily, I haven't spammed this blog post yet. Maybe I was hearing things, but I think I heard Federico say he wants to write his iOS 12 review this year in drafts. No, Rick, exactly not. It's actually in Keep It, believe it or not. That's what's... in fact, the blog post I said, I mentioned at the beginning that I was going to push off till next week. I talk about that. It was this huge, beautiful, wonderful love letter he wrote to Keep It. So I was super excited. Trying to Discord use stickies.app, but it's too big. Okay, so Helma's saying it's the automation of what happens to the stuff after. Maybe, okay, so I need to talk more to Helma about how this works. All right, I'm going to keep going here. He clicked on a folder and he put it in list view by doing Command 2, and then he hit Command A to select all, and the folders are all folded up right now. The trick to unfolding all of them is you hit Command right arrow with everything selected. This triggered every single folder to unfold. Since the items in the folders weren't selected yet, he hit Command A again and then applied the tags. Finally, he hit Command left arrow and everything folded back up again. It was a beautiful thing. Even if you don't use tags, this trick will come in handy someday. Do make sure you're in list view. It doesn't work in column view or any of the other views, obviously. Well, the only thing not to like about Brett is that he clearly is on Team Chuck. I left my phone unattended. You'd think I'd have learned by now. And sure enough, my lock screen was now a hideous close-up of Brett's nose. Hang on. I haven't talked about Chuck yet, have I?
Well, Chuck is earlier in the post. Did you miss Chuck's post?
I did. How did I jump straight to Brett? Okay, maybe it's at a break point.
So the last thing you were saying is I find it much more accurate than dictating in my phone or even my Mac right before Chuck should have been.
Was unencrypted, and she thought I'd want to know. Okay, that's that. Okay, no, it had to be in this part. Well, for him, I hope you'll consider being as generous as... Okay. How did I... Boy, that's subliminal. I skipped Chuck.
Yeah,
Rather than dictating it in my phone or even my Mac. I've become a huge fan of... I did. I skipped
you
Chuck.
skipped a little Freudian there.
Oh, subliminal, man? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
something. I don't know what it is, but that is pretty funny. You'll have to tell him.
So, how far down? Let me drop this down. And I'm going to mute that track, but make sure I go back and get that later. So this was all Chuck, or Brett, right? Oh, it's muted. Can't hear it. Set up a long time ago, way to search for his documents and allow them to be that I have difficulty with. Hang on. Oh, but its purpose evaded me. Okay. Okay, good. Mute. Okay, that is so funny. Okay, because I knew there was a part about Chuck that then explains why I make fun of Brett. Okay. As much as it pains me to admit it, Chuck Joyner did an interesting presentation where he talked about using what you buy. I'm not sure that it had to do with the subject of the conference, productivity, but it was still interesting. The point he made was that we buy software because it's the new shiny, and then we don't use it to its full potential. We often have free software on our Macs that we also don't exploit. We all know that this is true, but it was a good reminder to focus on learning the tools we buy and maybe even stopping subscriptions on what we don't use. Chuck did something very dastardly while at the show, though. I asked him to take a photo with my phone, and when I got it back, he had replaced the adorable picture of my grandson Forbes with a dreadful close-up of his own face. That came back to bite him during my presentation later. Okay, so now call those and pop them up here, and then it goes to... Now the thing about Brett will make sense. Oh, that's good. That's Kevin. Oh, maybe I should just make a collection.
Yeah, a collection of NosillaCast noses.
Item during my presentation later. Okay. Item during my presentation later. I've become a huge... Okay, and then, woo, too fast. Okay, now I can move that one over. Investing your time in it. Brett explained that Apple... That one right there. In a folder. He clicked on a folder and he put it in list view by doing Command 2, and then he hit Command A to select all, and the folders are all folded up right now. The trick to unfolding all of them, the lock screen was now a hideous close-up of Brett's nose. Can't believe he did that.
Someone needs to learn not to leave their phone unlocked.
You think?
You think, right?
Oh, God, did you see what Brett wrote? You can call it NosillaCast.
NosillaCast. Actually, everyone pronounces it NosillaCast anyway, pretty much, with a Z.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why they call it NosillaCast. Good. Mm-hmm. All right. Let me save here. Okay. All right. Bob Levitas of Working Smarter for Mac Users had two big pieces of advice. As a person diagnosed with ADHD, he has found that using the Pomodoro technique helps him keep things... Okay, too many stumbles. All right, try that again. I wonder if you guys can hear the fan in the background. I just realized the one on the table over there is on. Can you guys hear that?
I don't know, but I'm getting a lag between your audio and your video. I don't think it hurts anything.
Are you?
Yeah. I don't know why this is happening.
Wow. Yep.
Could be Hangouts or whatever we're using. YouTube Live.
There's a couple things I can turn off in Chrome.
What's weird though, I thought the video...
did that fix it at all?
Say something?
That's a little better.
No, not here.
No, not that
yet.
much better.
I'm trying to understand if the video that I see in Mimo, I thought that was not going through. I'm transmitting to Hangouts, so what I'm seeing in Mimo is the raw video before it goes to YouTube, and it's still got the lag. And
it's lagging when you're seeing it?
Yeah.
Well, my CPU is getting
hammered.
My CPU is getting hammered.
Well, it's a good thing you're not controlling it.
I can't even understand you now.
What do you mean? I'm breaking up?
Yeah, breaking up badly. Are either of us breaking up to the rest of you guys?
You're fine to me. Your audio's fine. It's just delayed.
Okay. Yeah, your audio's real choppy, but I think it's probably me. Chrome is such... I wonder if I made Chrome a smaller window. Would it send less video? Would that have any effect?
No, I don't think so.
If it didn't have to display as much. I've got Safari open. Let me quit Safari. Mail is still up. What else is still up? Oh, I do have a couple of apps here, but I don't think they're taking much. Well, photos might be.
Oh, you're starting to sync up. You're starting to sync up now.
Am I?
Yeah, you're better. You're about a half second off now. It was about 2 to 3.
Interesting. Okay, all of those are essential.
Yeah, you're almost synced up now.
So the main thing that I think affected it was I made Mimo Live really small, but it's still, I mean, my, actually, yeah, you can see it drop down.
What did
Chrome is using 272%. I stopped a lot of videos, or a lot of apps, but I'm going to increase the size again and see if it gets bigger. I know that sounds dumb, but if it's having to display video here and record video.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the displaying on your screen, but.
I really like your desktop, your wallpaper there,
right.
Brett. Yeah, that didn't make it get bigger. Yeah, that actually does. It does. There is a noticeable difference.
But in making the videos larger?
I was able to shrink it down as small as I can. I wonder if it's not even on screen, if that would affect anything. A little hard to tell. Chrome is at 282%. I was pushing 400 before.
Well, you're a lot better now. You're back in sync.
Good. Oh, yeah. Now I want a better experiment. Okay, what was I saying here? Oh, I was starting Bob Levitas. There we go. All right. Bob Levitas of Working Smarter for Mac Users has two big pieces of advice. As a person diagnosed with ADHD, he has found that using the Pomodoro technique helps him get things accomplished. The Pomodoro technique, when followed properly, enforces a series of dedicated and timed work periods without interruption, each followed by a defined break time. Bob sets down goals for the day, like writing a specific number of pages in a book he's writing. He then schedules his day in 25-minute increments with specific goals for each 25-minute period. He starts a timer, and he works without interruption for 25 minutes. When he's been a good boy and stayed focused for those 25 minutes, he gets rewarded with a check mark on that time slot, and he gets a 5-minute break. He gets a longer break after he's accomplished several tasks. Bob made himself a little worksheet to document these time increments, and he's made it available at workingsmarterformacusers.com/free. It's got a lot of other cool stuff there, too. In order to work uninterrupted, he only allows himself to read his emails twice a day, and he turns off notifications during his 25-minute head-down work time slots. During Q&A, I suggested one more tip that I've used to stay focused, and that's to use a different user account while working. Working at a plain vanilla user account means I'm not logged into mail or Twitter or Facebook or Messages or Telegram, so none of those distractions are available to me. He seemed to think that was a terrific idea. I have a great deal of trouble getting stuck into doing my videos for Don, and I think I might try the Pomodoro technique as Bob suggested. I have this bad habit of sitting down, getting ready to start, and then thinking, I really should brush my teeth. Or, I've really been neglecting Tesla. I should go play with her. We'll see if this technique can help me focus. If any of you use this technique, I'd sure like to hear about it. Bob had another great suggestion for improving your productivity. He said, learn to touch type. I know that sounds dumb, but if you don't type quickly, and anything you do includes typing, then you'll save time if you spend some effort truly learning to type correctly. He has spent time working on, even though he's been an author for ages, and he's been able to improve his typing speed significantly. He's even got metrics to prove it from typingtest.com. Gene McDonald made a compelling case for a new system called Micro.blog. The problem to be solved is that we create a great deal of content on platforms we don't own. Twitter and Facebook, for example, essentially own everything you write on their platforms. With Micro.blog, you can write your content and then have it posted to other social media sites. If those sites or platforms go away at some point or change policies to something that's untenable to you, you can simply close your account and apply your content somewhere else. Gene explained that you can have your content hosted on Micro.blog servers, or you can host it yourself, but still use the Micro.blog software platform to write your content. I really like to see people trying to come up with new methods to allow us to have the cool, fun tools that we have today, but without being beholden to corporations which may do things we don't like and with which we'd like to sever our relations. I hope micro.blog takes off and becomes popular. I mentioned earlier that Kelly Guimont spoke about one of the most beloved applications for the Mac, Text Expander from TextExpander.com. She started by asking how many people are using Text Expander. I would say well over 80% of the hands went up, and they went up enthusiastically at that. Because we were clearly such an advanced group, it allowed her to get into more subtle, cool features of their new version 6, the subscription version. I learned a lot in her deeper dive, but 2 things I learned will be big improvements for me. When Steve posts the videos from events like CES and NAB, I always send a link to both the person I interviewed and the marketing person. I create Text Expander snippets to do this, but I have a separate snippet for the subject and the body of the email because you can't have one snippet to do both. Or so I thought. In Text Expander 6, you can now, or maybe you always could, insert keystrokes such as the tab key. Now I can have my snippets drop in the subject line, hit the tab key, and drop into the body of the email. This will save me significant time. The other feature that I'd never noticed before was that as you're creating a snippet, there's a little eyeball in the upper right of the window. This eyeball allows you to preview your snippet. With many snippets, this won't look any different than the main window, but if you're working with dates and times or complex insertions, it could be very useful. Kelly hit that eyeball and mentioned she was doing a preview, but didn't really make a big deal out of it. She just kind of said, okay, let me preview this, because evidently that eyeball has been there for a really long time. I was really surprised, and I expressed my surprise, and she mocked me a little bit at not noticing the existence of that preview feature. But then people throughout the room started to say, hey, I haven't ever seen it either. And then Jean McDonald, who used to work at Smile and was an evangelist for the product, said she'd never noticed it. I would suggest that if it's not obvious to that many people, maybe they should look at the UI a little bit. Now that I know where it is, it's really, really obvious. But if none of us saw it, then, whose fault is that? Save. Where did you go, Steve? I saw you leave, and then I heard you slam down your glass.
I went to turn on the... Oh, my audio was on? I went to turn on the barbecue. So it appears that when you record, this sounds familiar, that's when your lag starts increasing. Because while you were...
When I record, this sounds familiar?
No, your lag starts increasing. Although it's... Because it's back again.
The lag came back?
Now it's starting to diminish, so I think there's maybe a couple factors going on. Did you save and bookmark? Oh, you're not done, right?
No.
You still got, what, 3 subsections.
I know. We're only at 28 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, but you're at 6:03.
I'm at what? Oh, sorry.
You're keeping the class late here.
Sorry. Well, we goofed around too long at the beginning. Here we go. I already talked a bit about Adam Christensen's Markdown deeper dive, but I had a few more notes I wanted to give you about it. Like I said earlier, using Marked made me start to enjoy Markdown a lot more. Adam started with the basics, which I pretty much already knew, things like how to do bold and italics and lists in Markdown. He showed us tables, which were cool in Markdown, way easier than HTML, but when you're done, they can be highly messy looking. He showed us service you can install from Brett Terpstra's Markdown service tools that will clean up your table. Good grief. He showed us a service that you can install from Brett Terpstra's Markdown service tools that will clean up your tables like magic. When he opened the Markdown service tools, there were tons more fun things to do in Markdown. I may end up losing productivity when using Markdown because there's so much fun discovery in all of Brett's tools. Well, bottom line is I feel like I'm the only person I know not using Markdown, so I'm giving it yet another college try. I decided to write the show notes for the last 2 posts about Macstock in Markdown using Cot Editor and Marked to see the rendered Markdown. I've got some tricks up my sleeve about how I can make it work for me that I'll share at a later date. Now, I couldn't have been happier with how my presentation was received. I know I'm blowing my own horn here, but I can't help it. It wasn't just my friends that said it went well and my husband. Complete strangers came up to me to tell me how much they enjoyed it. Now, I mentioned it last week, but I actually changed my topic at the last minute to mind mapping. I started off with some hilarious mockery of Chuck Joyner that really got the crowd warmed up. Now, remember, the big stage talk is just 20 minutes, and it's sort of a tease for the deeper dive. When it came time for the deeper dive, though, my talk was scheduled across from Bob Levitas. Bob Levitas is pretty famous, and he was a keynote speaker, and his deeper dive was on the big stage, while mine was shuffled off into a breakout room. And, even Bob, though, said, I really wanted to see your deeper dive. Anyway, I figured maybe 3 people would come see the main body of my talk. I needn't have worried, though. The room was packed. I'm talking standing room only, and I am not exaggerating. The audience was engaged. They asked great questions. I didn't see anybody asleep, and usually I get a couple asleep. And Brett Terpstra heckled from the back of the room while answering any of the hard questions I couldn't answer. Like I said earlier, I could not be happier about how it came out. I don't want to tell you all about it, though, because next week I'm going to put the audio of the main stage presentation into the show. If you can't wait, Steve has published the video over on podfeed.com, and you can find it. It's Macstock 2018, Mind Map Your Way to Productivity. If all of this intrigues you and you find yourself wishing you could watch all of these amazing presentations, you're actually in luck. This year, Mike Potter was creating that digital pass I told you about earlier. The digital pass will include Saturday's keynote session with Bob Levitas, all featured Saturday and Sunday morning sessions, main stage only deeper dives on Saturday and Sunday, not mine. Additional content may be made available at a later date or live streamed in between after sessions or during the evening events, but that is not guaranteed. You can learn more and buy a digital pass for $79 at macstockconferenceandexpo.com. You know what? We are at 32 minutes. And since I'm going to move that out, you guys could take off if you want. I think this is going to take a little while because I think I can find time to do Helma's recording now.
Okay. Well, Helma is still with us. Did you do a save and bookmark?
I did a save. I'm not a bookmark. Where did I put it, Helma?
Helma's in the Netherlands? Where?
Yes, there it is.
Is that where Martin is from? Martin?
Yes.
We should introduce them because, if you're in the Netherlands, you should know everyone else in the Netherlands.
All right. Bye, Rick. It was nice to see you again. Really enjoyed it. All right. Joe's bailing for his steaks broiling. Actually, wait a minute, Joe. I got to ask. In Arizona, do you just throw them out on the concrete? Is that how you broil steaks?
Well, he was joking about that earlier.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Oh, Helma says there's only 17 million of them.
Yeah, that's like Los Angeles.
What is Helma doing up in the middle of the night? That's what I'd like to know.
She said something about getting up early, but she didn't say. I think she said just to see your show, but I'm not sure. I heard that. I saw that.
Oh,
right.
And she was probably hoping to hear this segment.
Yeah,
it's coming in now.
Maybe you should play it.
I am. It's still coming in, though. It's long.
Coming in. Oh, you're ingesting it?
I have to drag it in, the audio recording into, well, look at your screen. You should be able to see it.
Let me check that out. Nope.
Oh, Helma got up to be part of the live show. It's not showing?
Well, what do you mean? On your screen? Like that?
Yeah.
I don't see. It looks like it's... I see. The dark versus the lighter version of the audio waveform.
Well, if you had looked when it was happening in the upper right, there was a blue line going across showing the progress.
But it's done?
Yeah. I don't remember if I did... let me check. And don't let me forget chapter marks. conferenceandexpo.com. Okay, that track is muted. That will sound better if it's playing. .com. Well, I'd like to present you yet another episode. My audio was, you know what? I kept trying to turn Helma up, and my audio was up too high. So my audio is not great in this, but I think hers is going to be good. Split stereo. This is going to take a minute. So now in the upper right, you see the blue line? You may not. Splitting apple woes. Okay. conferenceandexpo.com. Well, I'd like to present you yet another episode in the Everything is Fiddly series, and this time it is brought to you by our good friend Helma from the Netherlands. Helma, how you doing today?
I'm fine right now.
Right now, she is. So you may remember Helma from many adventures I've had in CSS and programming by stealth, but also we got to meet up with Helma when we went to Belgium. And but I'm having her on this time because she sent this long diatribe email to me and Bart that is such a story of Everything is Fiddly that I asked her to come on the show to actually tell us the story real time rather than just having to read it. So Helma, what is it? Does everything break on you? Where does this story start?
Well, usually I'm a really happy computer user with an ever so slight Apple bias. But now I need to vent my frustration. You might get some information out of this, and at least you get some giggles. As a few months ago, I sent Bart a big box of coffee, and I asked him to rate it so he could decide which one he liked best. Bart upped the game and made a number spreadsheet that he shared with me, but he shared it with my @me address.
So @me.com?
Yes, @me.com.
Okay.
Well, that's great, and I really appreciated the effort he put into it. But however, this email address is not my main Apple ID.
Oh, okay.
Because a long time ago, I registered my username with Apple as just my handle in iTunes. And back in the day when the term Apple ID was unknown and iTunes was still only selling music.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought some music on that account. And when the App Store came along, of course, I bought apps. And my entire purchase history of over a decade is in that account.
All right. That sounds good.
Yeah. So Apple started to sync stuff to what is now iCloud. And I couldn't use that account to sync because it wasn't an email account.
It was just a handle.
It was just a handle.
Okay.
So I created a new Apple ID, which was my main Gmail account.
All right. That sounds like that would work. Except now that's not connected to your old account, right? Or did they let you move it?
Well, fortunately, Apple allows 2 accounts, one for iTunes and one for syncing, one for all places.
Okay. So now you've got 2 going.
Yes. Okay. And that went right until somewhere along the line, I wanted to have notes and reminders and sync them across all my devices. Apple didn't allow that unless I used an Apple domain email address.
Wait, so you couldn't use @gmail.com to sync across iCloud?
Nope. No, I had to have an @me address. So I created an @me address or @me.com, whatever it was.
Right.
And to make things more interesting, some time ago, I had trouble with my iTunes account. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't log in. And Apple didn't allow the username anymore. So it had to be an email address. So I suggested, use my main Apple ID, which was my Gmail account. No, that wasn't possible because it was already tied to another account.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to have to cut us off there because we're getting late here, but I need to put in a chapter mark.
But rest assured, Helma, she won't cut you off in the podcast.
Yeah.
You'll get full billing.
Let's see. That. Why didn't it? What are you doing? There we go. Come on. Are you not? Come on. Oh, because I'm not hitting the right keystroke. That's why.
Chapter mark and save.
I couldn't understand that at all.
Chapter mark and save. Still can't hear it?
It's all broke up.
Yeah, and you're laggy. You're pretty laggy and jumpy.
Wow. Yeah, it's cranked up. See if that's What's going on? 343% on.
You're not
on
you're not doing any backups right now, are you?
backups or anything. I don't know. Who knows? What's that? Huh. I don't know. But I will check that in a moment. I don't want to lose my place because I have got to.
You got to put a bow on it.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Now I can do. Got everything, the wrong stuff's open. I should probably save. Okay. All right. There you go. Shows about an hour. That'll be good. Okay, here we go. I'm going to cut you off here. I thank you very much. This was a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, I had a lot of fun with Helma, but this is going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com. You can follow me on Twitter @podfeed. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You can become a patron through podfeed.com/Patreon. You can join our Facebook group, podfeed.com/Facebook. If you want to join Google+, podfeed.com/Google+. Want to join our chat room? podfeed.com/chat. Want to find those Amazon affiliate links I'm always yapping about? podfeed.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Boy, I got to figure out a way to mute you. Heard your chair.
I was on. Oh, you're still hearing the Discord.
Yeah, I can. You're not muted on Discord.
I don't mute myself on Discord. Maybe I should start doing that. That means I have to mute myself twice.
I should figure out why I can't. I need to figure out why Discord doesn't obey the changes I tell it. I don't understand. Maybe TJ can help me.
3% what? It's 3% power, Toby? Looks like he's about to leave us.
All right, we should call it. Is what we should do.
I think we
Thank you everybody for coming.
Have Helma, TJ, and Kevin. Is Brett still here? I don't even. No, Brett had to leave, so I think it's just the three of them.
All right.
The dedicated listeners to the end.
Wendiferous. I wonder who Wendiferous is.
I don't know, but they haven't been doing any typing. Maybe that's Wendy.
Huh. It could be. I don't know.
She hasn't been chatting it up.
All right. I think we should call it, and I've got more work to do. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate you guys staying to the end. Bye.
Good night.
Bye, Helma.